Hmm. 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 Okay. The Viper, naturally aspirated. 4C, Alfa Romeo Old School. Aston Martin, Genesis. Megane, the 86, or Megan. Renault, by the way. Volks, Sirocco front. Okay. BMW M4. Honda, Mustang, Ferrari. Viper again. Okay, that's us. That's me. Okay, that's you. Yeah. There's 4C, the Alfa Romeo, and trying to get the sportsmanship right and the aspiration, trying to see if we don't get a crash. But we go off track, trying to let them overtake and see what's up ahead, since we just caught up to that fact. So we see the Honda, we see the Mustang, and then the BMW with a lot of gap. Right. So there has to be a crash somewhere. No? Right. The Honda, the Mustang, and that yellow thing that I just don't know what it is. The 4C and then the Alfa Romeo. But we're behind this BMW. Which is a very delicate thing. Or, you know, it's touchy. But it is a car that we are dying to get to. Turbocharger notwithstanding. Well, let's finish the race. So then the Honda and the Mustang, which we were dying to get to as well. Okay. Not the yellow thing at the 4C. Not right now. So we're halfway through the track or the lap or almost on corkscrew up ahead. And we're trying to get this overtake. And we almost do. But then the BMW, we have to let them pass. Too dangerous. We don't want to ruin this BMW or anyone else. We just already know there's going to be a crash because of the aspiration, because of the turbocharging, because of the drivetrain on these cars. Okay. And the maintenance, by the way. So you can't just go off-roading. So we're still behind this BMW. So when are we going to get this overtake? Now we can do this switchback maneuver and then try to get the overtake. But the aspiration goes out since we're naturally aspirated, and that BMW and the rest of the pack is turbocharged for all intents and purposes, given the 4C and the Volks and the Honda. Right, which aerodynamics and the wheelbase. Okay, so then we get the overtake on the BMW. And for all intents and purposes, we never see it again. Now we have our eyes on this Mustang and what we know to be a Ferrari, yellow Ferrari. But this 4C is pissing us off. Right. But it's fine, because we don't want to touch anybody and we don't want to mess up the car, we don't want to mess up the track. So then the Honda. And then we get the overtake. We never see the Honda again. Now this Mustang. Don't touch this fucking Mustang. Or Ferrari. And then we are in a Viper. Okay, keep that in mind. Behind this Mustang, the aspiration, the 4C, the Alfa Romeo, whatever is up ahead, that we will never get to, and we already know. And so we take the overtake on the right, since this Mustang, right, unwieldy to say the least. And now this 4C, and then we let them have the overtake, but we sneak in at the last possible minute, or second, or moment, and then we don't let this Ferrari at corkscrew. Right. Now that's a little bit, we'll get to it. You're not supposed to do that much, but I don't know what to tell you. Given the car list. We touched this 4C. We don't know it at the time of the race. But we have the overtake, and then we're behind the Alfa Romeo. Now here's the kicker though. I said the Viper. Right. And now we're tired. We're exhausted, we can't drive. So we lift off of the throttle, and then the 4C takes, and then so does the Ferrari, and then the Mustang. Slams us on the back. Okay. Damn though then. It's a strategy game for all intents and purposes. It's just action oriented. And then you have to think before and after the friggin' game or the friggin' drive or the race or the reading. Right, because it's like the Beyond the Apex thing. Right. Which is awesome. That's fucked up. Okay, let's go again. But then we ended up in the same place because we cut off the Ferrari on the second lap. We'll see. Here's a Ferrari behind us, right? And then here's a second lap. And then here's before the first turn, after the first turn, right? Here's corkscrew up ahead, and then we're nowhere in sight, but we're about to be. Right. Here's going up the hill to corkscrew, and now here's us all of a sudden. But we're behind this Mustang, and so we overtake, and we overtake the Ferrari, and that's us. Now we're on the right before corkscrew, right, and then the 4C. Now we're still on the right of the 4C, and we're still on the right, and we're still on the right. Now here comes a Ferrari, and there's no way. We're in the right, but you're just cutting him off, basically, since it's corkscrew and it's dangerous. But it's just, touchy. So then we cut him off, basically. Now you saw what they were going to do, left to right. Right, because of the aerodynamics, because of the tire suspension, because it's corkscrew and it gives out on the terrain. Okay. And then that's fair game. But it's just rude, basically. So they were right to be pissed off. And now I can do that because I'm in a Viper. So then he sees me get the overtake on this 4C and basically clip him a little bit. So then I already know that I'm tired, or that was a one move too many. You mean overtaking on the Mustang and the 4C? Right. So I'm exhausted. They all know it, and then so do I. Okay. Because I can do all of this on a Viper. No, you cannot on anything else, and so they have the position. And they get like 9th, or yeah. But then I let the 4C pass. I touched the 4C. Okay. Okay. We're gonna do the car list, we're gonna do the weather. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter until you get to the race. But let's just, for all intents and purposes, right? Porsche Cayman and a Lancer Group 4.0, and then a BMW and RCZ, Hyundai, Audi, Lamborghini 4-wheel drive, and then us, and then the Alfa Romeo Old School, number 4, and then Genesis again. Okay. So, wind says northeast 11.2 feet per second. Right, and it's kind of dry or whatever. Right. You see how all of this is just superficial, short-sighted, and even superstitious. Right, like it has nothing to do with the race because we're not at the race or we're not racing yet. Okay, so they could just be people. And nobody gives a fuck about name and face, nobody gives a fuck about bodies if you don't have any brains. Okay. I could tell they have a lot of attitude though. Right. Somebody driving in an Audi, they don't care. Somebody was driving in an RZZ, they don't care. Somebody driving in a Lancer, they don't care. The Porsche has all of the fucking pissed off about it, so there's the Hyundai in red, the Hyundai in black ready to kill, so there's the Alfa and the Lamborghini. Okay, so this could be heated. This could be a mess. But we know the track is whatever we just said. But see how it doesn't matter? Okay. Because we'll be able to tell the first couple of corners, the first lap, or the second lap, what everybody else is doing. They could crash. They could crash, it could just... Okay then. Okay. Us and the Viper, the Lambo, four-wheel drive, turbocharger for all intents and purposes, are naturally aspirated. I don't care at this point. Get it? Okay. The Audi, the Hyundai, the RZZ, BMW, Lancer, Porsche, Sylvia, by the way, which we don't know, a Supra, and then a Hyundai, and the Alpha, and then us. Okay. Four-wheel drive, remember? We could fuck up the aspiration. Right, thank you. And then an Audi, and then all types of, we don't know this car list, but it doesn't matter. Only a couple things could go wrong. Mainly the aspiration on the track, because of the driving car list that we have. Okay. Still having this argument about turbocharger versus naturally aspirated. So, we let them pass, or we give them enough space, because we can hear them. Okay. And we are driving a Viper. We have all the advantage since we are brains on this body, not trying to be a dick or an asshole, right? Okay. But then also just no contact sport, right? I'm not supposed to get funny looks from maintenance and production, whilst also keeping my mouth shut. Okay. So then there's Sylvia, and I'm like, ah, for fucking crying out loud, just had to be. Right. It's not a car, it's basically for showmanship purposes, or for display, or for... So we're supposed to just handle this thing behind a Supra. Corkscrew, and then this happens. A spill, it just... something happens, or I don't know. And now I'm thinking, maybe it's a maintenance issue. Right. Like I just drove, and then the track is dirty, or some of the cars, because of the tire wear, and okay, because it's a hot day, so it's just me by somebody's maybe maintenance, or maybe we're not. Okay. But then after I see this Sylvia just be fine with it, and me keeping up with things, I'm thinking this is the aspiration, 100%. This is the aspiration. Like everybody's driving like an asshole. We're having this turbocharging argument. Okay. Now, I'm behind this Sylvia again. And it's making all the right moves. But it's a Sylvia, so we're just dragging or just lagging behind. Okay then. And I'm like, are you going to be okay? Is this like a thing that you can do? And they're going, well, this, that, and I'm like, okay. And then the Supra gave me the okay. They're like, just don't worry about that thing, it's fine. And so do they. Okay, but you're not supposed to touch that thing, given that it's not a real car. Okay. So I get the overtake, and then I do this. And that's one of those things that you can do in a naturally aspirated, and you can't do that in a turbocharger. Any kind of debris the turbocharger gives out. Or you could, but then you wouldn't be able to respond to the spill that I just had. Now I'm behind the Supra, which isn't a car that you can drive because it's a turbocharger. Okay. So then, where is this overtake? On a turbocharger from a naturally aspirated. Right. And I like the Supra. The Supra's nice. It's one of those turbochargers. Right. If you could maybe perhaps because of the wheelbase, power weight distribution, and it's enough of a drive. Right. Steering response all there. So then I'm behind the Supra, and then I have to lift at the very last possible second. I have to lift. I had a spill in the first lap with corkscrew, and then I had to be behind this Sylvia the entire time. Now I have a chance to overtake on a Supra that is a turbocharger that could naturally aspirate a little bit or handle itself because of the wheelbase and the power rate distribution, but I'm in a Viper, so I can't. And meanwhile, I was trying to just with this Lambo or whatever. Right, for some reason. Okay, right. Us in the Viper, Aveyron, Mercedes, Genesis, RZZ, Megane Megan, Corvette, Genesis again. We don't know any of this. Okay. Supra, Cayman Porsche, Supra again, Honda NSX, Viper, us, Veyron. We only know the NSX and the Veyron. We just jumped into the race. We saw the car list. We couldn't give two fucks. We saw the wind speed. We couldn't get two fucks. The weather, it was fine for all I could give a fuck about. Okay. Now, here's this Veyron, which is a lot of fun. Like the NSX and like the Lambo and like the BMW. Okay. Why? The power weight distribution from the wheelbase, and it's a finicky car. It's just takes some getting used to, but it's just a lot of fun. Okay. And then this Genesis and this Corvette, and we couldn't give two fucks. We didn't know any of it. So we start the race, or the race starts. We're trying to get behind this Veyron and have as much fun as possible, but we get an error, or the track gives out on us, or the car. So I'm thinking the aspiration every time. And this NSX just said left or right. I'm in a red car, and I'm like, I don't want to touch any of you. I have to just whatever. I just saw you. That's enough. Okay. So we're behind two Supras and a Porsche. Now we said before that the Supra is a real car, but this Porsche, come on, is much less so since it's Porsche old school and rear. Right, you'd have to drive it like one of those weird cars, like the Sylvia, that isn't a car at this point. Okay. You can drive it, but you'd have to be that guy. Okay. So we pull up, we overtake on the Supra, and the Supra already fucking knows about this Veyron NSX crap that is the middle of the pack that nobody is even remotely. Okay. So then, this is what the Porsche does because of the aspiration. The drivetrain, and then turbocharger or not. Okay, it gives away at the drivetrain. Right, it's rear. And it's a Porsche, it's old school, it's like the Mercedes, where it's just like, it's like the Corvette. Like, it's just not a real car in the game, or for all intents and purposes. Like, you're just driving that, basically. Okay. It doesn't make you a well-rounded driver. You have an argument, but just, you're too specific. You know what I mean? Okay. So then we pretty much, get rid of this Porsche. Okay. And now we're behind the Supra and this NSX, and we can see the Veyron. And it's like, oh, so close. We don't want to touch the Supra or this NSX, and then just see about racing this Veyron. Okay. Four-wheel drive, I couldn't give two fucks less. The wheelbase, the power weight distribution, and then we have an overtake on the Supra, and the NSX is giving me nothing but attitude in red. So I'm just like, oh, you're one of these. And it gives out, as soon as I touch the throttle, we have the overtake. Okay. So it's not competitive, mainly just we're in a Viper, and then it's just like one of those things. Okay. Whoever was the driver for the NSX. Okay. So then we're behind this Veyron, about to get into corkscrew, and we do this, by the way. Okay. Now, you saw before that I was on the right and on the left before corkscrew, which this is for all intents and purposes. Now, we were trying to do the same thing to the Veyron, but the Veyron was laughing at us, right? Okay. A lot, by the way. So, get it right. It's about to go down between me and them. Now, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do that. corkscrew from the right is doable. The way that we just had this, that does not happen. Okay, that's so that's not funny. If they hadn't done that defensive driving between left and right a little bit in minding the space between us, and the fact that they thought I was a moron and or a dumbass doing this, it's not funny. Because corkscrew is dangerous, given that we just had a spill, we overtook in the Porsche, and I'm driving this thing for 3 races for all intents and purposes, pretending that these are the same drivers. Okay. Now, I am fine, but no, I am not. Right? Given that this was so much fun and we just had it with this Veyron. So, we're still behind the Veyron and we're on the left and then we're on the right. And then that's fine. Whoever was behind us with that attitude. Now we're trying to overtake this Veyron and then this happens. Now remember that I said it was fine between me and him? No, it wasn't. My blood pressure gives out, or I can't see in front of me, or I have this sudden moment of just like runner's high, or just like too much oxygen in the brain. So I was just like delirious, or like in like a state of like a dream state or whatever. Okay, so then I see it pull ahead like in front of me, and then guess who comes up and pretty much right the NSX. Okay, and then that's it. I was physically done trying to overtake this Veyron and trying to just friggin' race them. But I have this though, so I was fine and I knew it. Now that's the ticket, or that's the bit where that son of a bitch should have fucking let me have the overtake in corkscrew, Viper or not, and then Veyron or not. So just yeah, and then you'll see it again. Here's me and the Viper. Here's a Veyron. Here's a Mercedes, the Genesis, the RZZ, the Megane, the Corvette, and then the Genesis again. Which we don't care. The Supra, the Porsche Cayman, and then the Supra again, and then the NSX. I only know the NSX behind me and the Veyron. I'm trying to race this Veyron and this NSX. So I try to do my thing, and then the car gives out. I don't know what it was, and then it's usually the aspiration, given that they're racing turbochargers and or whatever it is. So I let this NSX pass, and the Supra, and the Cayman, and the Supra again. Okay, and the race that we just saw. But I want to show you the issue with the Porsche at corkscrew and the Veyron. Okay. Now this is the first lap, and then this is the Supra. The Supra is racing or driving behind this Porsche, minding the thing that I am minding, or paying attention to them, driving like a bit of an asshole, driving this thing that is undrivable basically, because you can't drive anything else, right? So he lets me have the overtake, this first Supra, and then I'm behind this Porsche, right? Now it's pretty crowded, and then corkscrew. Okay. Now the Supra does this, right? Left, right, and so do I. But given the rear of this Porsche, right, and me racing behind the Supra again, you'll see. Here's me behind the Porsche and trying to get this overtake on him, which I do for, right? Okay, and the Supra goes right to the right. Right. Except I can't, right then and there, squeeze, right? Or rather, get into it with the Porsche. So then they are driving behind me, and then this is where they lost it. They went to the right of me for an overtake, for enough space, for whatever reason, and then when I have my steering issues because of the maneuver that I did, they basically drive me off of the road. And this is why you can't drive this thing. It's just unsafe that way. And yeah, it's fine, but look at the way that it sounds. Okay. So then we're behind this Supra and this NSX again. trying to get to race this Veyron. Right. And we're fine. We survived the Porsche for whatever it is that they do. Right. And then look, to the right or to the left? And I'm like, to the right, I don't care. You can't make that many moves. Which the turbocharger, like, lies you into, like, deceives you into thinking that you're, like, a turbocharger. Right. Which you can be, but just the wheelbase and power weight distribution and the weight. As fast as humanly possible. Well, no, eh? Okay. So then the Supra and the NSX. Right. Supra gives out. We're behind this NSX. Have this overtake because of a throttle issue that they have or that they don't have. And that's what you're supposed to do. Whatever the thing is, just let them have the overtake. And then race, you know. Okay. Or just show that you have, like, the wherewithal, you know. Not have any contact. Now, here's this Veyron, right? Same thing as the Porsche, but not quite so. Like what I just did with the NSX, this Veyron would not give me the, you know? Right. Now I'm on the right, they're on the left. I have the overtake basically. Like they should have just, you know, let you have from the right. Right, even if it was just a difficult maneuver. But then they had to do this. And then have their fun basically. Okay. No then. No. I just had it with the Porsche. So then this is right. And then I give out over here because of what they just did. Porsche notwithstanding, and then the NSX enters the picture, pulls up, overtakes, like, you know? Right. And then I absolutely have this Veyron. And then it was, you know? PlayStation, PlayStation, PlayStation. I'm going home to my PlayStation, PlayStation, PlayStation. Phantom Blade Zero is coming out on PlayStations. After all, that's been PlayStations. And then so is Moonlighter 2 and Judas for all intents and purposes. Yeah. You have to be done with this, man. No. PlayStations, PlayStations, PlayStations. Okay? No. Hmm. uh, hmm. Hmm.